talk about what is a Scrum, and then let's try and understand how a Scrum Master in an organization can implement Scrum. So this is what generally happens, and this is what happens with everyone. So organization one fine day comes up and tell that customers are not satisfied, and with certain survey we found out that Agile is the way which helps, and there is a flavor of Agile. You might have heard about Scrum, and we are doing that, and so that's what happened. And people are clueless how it is going to happen. Nobody is trained properly, and they're not explained what is a Scrum, and the organization structure in itself is a big impediment, but nothing changes. And a project manager is asked to execute certain project in Scrum format, Scrum way, and this is what happens. So this training basically intends to help you in understanding what is a Scrum, and who is a Scrum Master, and what is expected out of Scrum Master, how this Scrum Master can bring in Scrum into the organization. So as a whole, we'll understand Scrum, and we'll understand how a Scrum Master in any organization can implement Scrum, bring in that change. What is a Scrum? So Scrum is a framework within which people can address complex, adaptive problems while productively and creatively delivering products of highest possible value. So Scrum is a lightweight framework which is very simple to understand yet very difficult to master. Now, how simple? You'll see it is as simple as your 5-year-old can also understand, and it is as difficult as your 50-year-old CEO can find a lot of difficulty in implementing it. Scrum is a process framework that has been used to manage complex product development since early 1990s. Scrum is not a process or a technique. Now, let's be very clear. People think this is a process. No, it is not a process. We are clearly saying it is a framework. We're clearly saying this is an approach. Actually, it is a whole lot mindset shift. That is what is a Scrum. So, it is not a process or a technique to build product. Scrum makes clear and relative efficacies for your product management. We are not talking about project management here. If you'll see throughout the training, I would rather be talking about product. I will be focusing on product. And Scrum also talks about development practices. So when you go outside and you would hear a lot about agile engineering, that is what we are talking. So when XP came, XP majorly talked about agile engineering, the coding practices which would bring in agility and which would improve the quality of your development. Scrum consists of a Scrum team and their associated roles, events, artifacts. When I say events, I'm talking about ceremonies that you will hear a lot, and rules. Each component within the framework serves a specific purpose and is essential to Scrum's success and usage. The roles of Scrum bind together the events, Scrum rules, and the artifacts, governance, and the relationship and the interaction between them. And let's talk about defining the Scrum framework. Under here, we would be talking about defining the core Scrum framework, core Scrum team, artifacts and ceremonies, adapting traditional business process to Scrum, and applying core Scrum values. And lastly, leveraging checks and balances in place to implement the whole Scrum. So what is a Scrum framework? You all must have by now already seen at least this or a similar kind of diagram showing certain rules, certain kind of events or meetings, and certain deliverables, input and output kind of stuff. So if we look at this, we see there are inputs from executives, teams, stakeholders, customers, end users, etc. So basically requirements, basically these are market need. And there is this guy, his name is product owner. So he is responsible for absorbing all the inputs from various stakeholders. And he is creating certain requirements document which is called product backlog. So if you'll see, he's not kind of thinking of a project. He's rather thinking of a product. That's where you see the emphasis on product owner, product backlog. So this guy is trying to create a product. And how is he trying to create that product? With the help of inputs he has received from executives. Some survey might have happened to understand need of certain industries, customers. there must be stakeholders who must be saying that the product is good, but still, these are the improvements, or this is the void in the market, and in order to fill this void, we need certain product. So this guy, he is owner, he is owning that product, he is responsible for that product to deliver value to its end user, all the stakeholders. So he is creating this backlog. When we say, what is a backlog? Backlog is basically something, some work pending that needs to be done, right? So this product owner, in short we'll call him PO, this PO is creating this product backlog. And the items within this product backlog, we'll in short call them product backlog items, means PBIs. So this PO is gathering PBIs and creating a huge backlog. Once completed, this backlog will yield you a product. So we'll talk about how completed, what is the, when we say completed, what exactly is the completed and all that. So what does he do? He's given with a team. Now this is generally a management discretion, management decision to decide a team. They would look at the backlog and they'll analyze what technologies and skills are required, and on the basis of same they'll create a team. And so this team selects certain count of backlog, certain amount of backlog. What this guy, the PO, would do, he'll keep a prioritized list of product backlog items, and this team would take up top of the stack and try and deliver it in a fixed time. So you would also hear a term called time box most of the time. So you'll see that this team within that fixed time box. So when we say time box, it is just generally a time window. So let's say 1 week or 2 week or 3 week. So Scrum says you should not have your time box any bigger than 4 weeks, because then it becomes really too big to connect, and a bigger amount of time where you cannot collaborate real quick or see your progress. So it should be really small, and so this time box where you are executing, a set of tasks is called sprint in Scrum framework. So we saw this product owner is generating a prioritized list of product backlog items. He is giving this to team and discussing with them and understanding what this team can deliver in one sprint in this fixed time box of, let's say, 2 weeks. Let's choose that. 2 weeks is generally the most optimum size of sprint and most preferred one. And but you can still have 1 week, you can still have 4 weeks. Certain teams also have it for 6 weeks. So so let's say we have chosen 2 weeks, and what are they doing? So they would take up these items and they further break it down, and they create their sprint backlog. Just like this product backlog, for each sprint you will have one sprint backlog. And then there is this another guy standing there. He's called Scrum Master. So, have you seen that rugby game where you see all those guys, bulky one and then lean one, and a group of, I don't even know the size of team, but yeah. So, because this is not pretty much of an Indian game, but then so you would see, okay, all of them are just running crazily after this ball, and they have to take it to ball post, and they all are doing, they are master of certain kind of work, but still they all are collaborating and cooperating. It's not that, my job is just to post the ball on the goal point or the post area or something like that. All of them would be helping each other. They'll be like crazily wrestling in the mud to save the ball and stuff like that. So that is what is expected out of Scrum team. You might be expert of certain area, but it is really good and helpful for team to learn from each other. So you just don't need to know your skill, you need to understand each other's skill and learn as much as possible. Now this guy, he is a bridge between management layer and the team layer. This guy is a facilitator to team. So if team has problems or any issues, or they see any kind of impediment, they think something is missing, this guy, the Scrum Master, he's facilitator. He has to ensure that team understands what they have to do. It is his job for team to help if they see any pressure or pushback from product owner in terms of work assignment or the estimation that they are doing. So it is his job. It is his job to save this team from the external teams coming and asking some different kind of work. And this guy is responsible to work with management to explain them that this team is a Scrum team, and whatever you are doing as a management is not helping this team in achieving their goal. So it is this guy's job to ensure that team understand what they have to do. Team comes and express this guy what are issues they are facing, and product owner understands how it works in Scrum and what he should be providing to team to facilitate them better. Now, if we also look at this diagram, it shows, you know, this in progress arrows, you know, the rotating arrows and these directing arrows which are resulting in certain thing. And we also see this diagram is talking about sprint end date and team deliverables do not change. It is saying every 24 hours, it is saying daily Scrum meeting, it is saying sprint review, finished work, and retrospective. So let me tell you, this diagram is basically showing you that this team, the product owner, Scrum Master, and the Scrum team, the core team, they work on product backlog item in iterations, take up iteration backlog, which is sprint backlog, and meet daily for a fixed time box, the sprint cycle for the length of the sprint. Daily they meet, they review the work they are doing, and they try and provide a readily shippable, readily consumable artifact. The deliverable should be so that the taker, the user, can consume it by the end of each sprint. And then there are different ceremonies, the daily Scrum meeting, the sprint retrospective meeting, the sprint review meeting, and your daily stand-up, the daily Scrum meeting. And so this diagram in completion shows you entire Scrum framework which is showing your roles, your ceremonies, and your artifacts. What is it which is going to be given the development team as input, and what is it that they are going to provide.